right, all you devils, happy Friday. Here we are, the 26th of May. It's the noon hour here. We'll get a quick update just on Bitcoin and Ethereum, take a peek at a few alts, and well, maybe check in on Tesla as well. So Bitcoin has gone exactly nowhere in a week. Plenty of volatility in the markets, but it's not being reflected here in Bitcoin, certainly. So while risk is on, and I think there's still, the U.S., of course, is wrestling with the debt debacle that we do so frequently. NASDAQ seems to think it's going to get done. That's just on an incredible tear today. Just equities in general. So the risk appetite is increasing, but we're not seeing that reflected here in our favorite store of value. So stability here. With this, nothing changed here. We still this 24, 25. That's where I'm looking. Excuse me, to get in. Pardon me. Nice big demand zone here. 200 got EMA, or I should say got MA. Oh, plus, right? We've looked at this here. If I pull off of this, I've had a couple of people ask me why am I pulling off of the secondary pivot here? Well, you see it as perfect golden zone, right? Went to second target to the tick, so I know the algo used this, right? Just to kind of review why this one, right? So this is not a traditional Elliott pull, in that we'd be anticipating with the completion of an impulse here, assuming that that's how it's going to hold and play, that we did go 1, 2, and this is 1, right? So traditional Elliott, you'd be back here thinking, oh, okay, I like it down here between 23 and 21. Well, if you like it at 24, 25, you're going to love it at 23, 22. I mean, assuming you have the wherewithal to hold that, you're not trading with leverage. I mean, these are, well, maybe we say it this way. We can consider all of this, right? Between the 38 here, if we're going swing high to swing low, 38 in the golden zone, an accumulation zone that might be of interest, right? So this just giving you a little bit more specificity, and then working in conjunction with what the algo did, right? Because since we know we used it, right? So here we have a perfect, and the way that this is unusual, right? See the 50 in line with the prior pivot here with the golden zone just above some fair value gaps on the edge of value. In volume profile here, you see the 50, excuse me, the 50 here is at a low volume node because very little business was done here. We went up so fast. I mean, that's about as sweet as it can get. Now, again, that doesn't mean that we can't roll over here and pop and come down. I'm not saying that. I can say it. There's a couple of reasons why I'm looking to buy here. Now, you don't have to sit here with a limit order, right? You can wait for the reaction, take the first retrace. Well, let's see. Let's do it this way. Well, if we come down here, 1, 2, 3, this looks like 4, 5. We'd come down here, then you'd be into the assumption here that you had some sort of A, B, C coming down. Sorry, guys. I truly suffer with allergies, so I apologize. But it is miserable for me, trust me. Okay, so we come down here and we go 3, 4, 5, something like that to get us started here on the 1 of the 3. That would be the thinking. I think we would come back here a sec. We've been over this a couple of times, right? You don't have to pick the turn. You never, ever need to try and pick the turn. It's just not. I mean, it's. Is it nice if you do it? Yeah, great. But it's not like, oh God, if I don't get the turn, I'm gonna miss the whole thing, right? You can be a little bit more practical than that, but this is an area of interest. Okay, so we've been over this for God knows how many since we started coming down here. So we've been over plenty of that. ETH. Here, I'm going to give you two counts on ETH. Here's the simplified version on the assumption that we're going to go 1, 2, 3. This is a 4, right? We'll look at the alternate where it's a 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, kind of the same thing. And if this is our low. Now, if we look here, right, we've looked at this before here. This is 50 to the tick, right? First target. So we know they use that, right? So the same thinking. If I pull from here, well, right here, we've got this little, I'm sure there's a likely a little demand zone in there. So if we come back down here, okay, well, is it a pure Elliott play? No, it's the swing structure here. I've got a swing low to a swing high coming in here. This would be an area of interest right now. If we're going to go full to the idea that this is a completed impulse, well, now we'd be looking for this a little bit lower. We've got some fair value gaps. So you can see from the launch point here, it's literally launching from golden zone. Or pardon me, that was the 50 on the first pull. We just launch out of this, right, and leave behind these imbalances. So if we come back into this area, I don't know how we're going to do it, right? It looks like you'd be working on an ABC in here. It looks like A, I'm working on the B. Okay, can I get a little lower here? Is this, what is that, right? Is there a count there? Well, it's consolidation, right? Some people tell you when you see that, right, this could be market makers balancing their book. I don't know. It's certainly a low amount of volatility as we kind of consolidate in this range here from, we'll call it 1830 to 1700, somewhere in that range. Not much to do here. Just watch it. We're going to break out of here eventually. I mean, that's a squeeze, right? I don't even have to look underneath, right? We know that's a squeeze, right? Complete contraction of volatility. Now, here's the alternate count, which we've been looking at. It's a little more complexity here. This is a little bit more for the Elliott junkies. 1, 2, okay, you can get it done here. 1, 2, which would make you think, oh, okay, wait a minute. Well, now that would make sense since I came 1, here's my 2. Okay, I didn't get the 1618, so then the premise would be, oh, if this is 1 and we complete here, which you can certainly complete it here with a valid count. If I complete here and this is 2, well, that's not likely to be 3. So 1, 2, still working on the 1, 2. So this is the more bullish count, 1, 2, 1, 2, looking for the big 3 to come. Again, same thing, right? We're just in a little range here, consolidation. It's a little bit trickier here. Oh, I got a 4-hour here. This correction is kind of tricky. Looks like you got to go A, B, C into a W here, X, and then A, B, C into a Y. Now, we could go X into another 3 down here and go W, X, and then get a Z down here through an A, B, C. That's a lot to project here. As it sits right now, we're just bouncing demand and we're just going sideways. That's just range bound. So not much to do there. So the big dogs, hurry up and wait. It's going nowhere. All right, let's, oh shit, now I got to find it. Okay, this is a quick follow-up here. This is one we've been tracking here. I think we touched on this the last couple of weeks. I know I've touched on it in some live streams. This is the ORAI chain, brought to my attention by one of my senseis who really loves to dig on these alts, right? And this has got real potential to be in the crypto space for AI to be building on top of. So this is, I won't get into all the details. This you can do a little digging on what they're all about. I would encourage you to do so. But if we just look here technically, well, we got swing, retrace, swing, retrace, swing, retrace. Pretty nice market structure here. So we can see a clear trend moving higher. Now there's a 4-hour. Now that said, right, we see coming off the low here. So if the assumption is the low's in, right, and we're going to go. So we've got a contender here for 1, 2, 3, come back for the 4. The Elliott channeling is quite good here. That again, I've got that's the 21 period Gann high low, right? So it's a little tweak on an EMA, just a standard moving average, but it gives you some buy sell. Very, very well. Yeah, I'm going to do a little back testing on this. To show you next week. Really a nice, convenient, easy way. It makes it easier to pull the trigger because you're like, well, shit, where do I go? Right, well, right here, right there was the last trigger pull, right? And we've just been up since then. I mean, it's not. I know it's always easy in hindsight, right? Isn't it? So here's the short. It takes you all the way down till we get the long. Right. I don't know that I would take it long, short. What, if I see this and I'm retracing into the 2, well, that's where having a little bit of market structure knowledge, just Elliott knowledge. Whoa, looks like I've got a 1, there's a 2. Do I want to sell that on the assumption that I'm going down to break a new low? Again, it's easy to say it in hindsight. But I think in terms of, okay, I got a higher, let's see, I wouldn't have any breaks of structure here. I would just have a little change of character. All of a sudden, higher high, higher low, higher high. All of a sudden, this wick action here could be it could be the exchange, could be just the lack of volume here where we get these kind of pump wicks. But the pump wicks are bullish. We'll say it that way. Just wanted to keep an eye on. You could buy it right here. 3 to 4. So if you looked at it this way, God damn it, if you came from the 2. If that's going to hold as the 3, we're sitting right here at the 38, right? Prior structure. you know, you can come up with some good reasons here. Now, if we drop down too much further, well, you're going to get the flip on the Gann high low. You're going to flip because that'll be a close below the lowest close of the last 21 bars, and that's how it works, right? So it'll flip. If you were to see that, you'd have to have a close below down here, and then you might rethink this. We could be coming back to, all right, well, there's a pretty good amount of consolidation right here where you'd have a potential that would be a swing order block here, and you can see there's a little fair value gap there as well. So there's potential, right? Anywhere from where we are here, call it, call it $4 to really $3.50. Anywhere in that range would be the area of interest. This is one, keep your eyes on that one. If nothing else, put it in a watch list for crypto AI. They've got a lot of potential here. Hang on. Okay, to wrap up here, 4 alts that I've kind of just moved up my watch list. A couple I've taken action on already, and a couple here that I would encourage you to keep an eye on these. I mean, God knows we got so many alts, right? So we're looking for things that have solid use case. I'm going to do them in order of priority here. So this one, I took action on this one. So I was buyer here this morning. You see this little, well, hard to miss it, right? With little consolidation that we're in right here. So the premise would be this is accumulation, right? Now, of course, it could be distribution, right? That's the problem with the whole idea here. But if we were going to accumulate before we rally, this is Casper to the dollar tether on BitGet, right? BitGet's our sponsor, so almost all the crypto that I do here is going to be on BitGet. Links underneath, right? We have a little bonus, right? If you're looking for a place to trade. If you're looking for trading crypto futures, they're as good as anyone. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 things that don't happen randomly. All right, so here, if this is the proposed wave 1, look how close we come. Now, it doesn't mean it can't roll over. All right, we're in a little range here, buy the lows, sell the highs. That could go for a while. We don't know, right? We don't know how long that lasts, but it certainly is enticing here. Now, one thought is if you're sitting here, well, you can just the price action is doing it for me. Right? If we break out of here to come back, right, and test, right? So that if you were looking for a trade, that's how I would approach it now, because you're kind of late. You're a little, if we break out of here, no problem, right? But if we don't, and there's the 200, if we come back, then you might be looking for a retrace, buy in the discount, right? Just cut it in half, buy below 50% of it. That's one to consider. So this could be a 1-2, right? But if you're going to fly out of there, too soon to call it anything other than just a bunch of consolidation. Order books getting balanced. Certainly possible. Accumulation. If we break above that 200, I think you'll have some people start piling in there. So this would be one to take some action on. If you see in a break, right, you can buy it right now. You can wait for the break and then the retest. That's pretty reasonably priced, so you can be fairly aggressive here. Hang on, Jesus. I am definitely the throat clearing king of YouTube. Okay, so we got that. So that's Casper, right? One I like. I like this as well, although the count is a little bit. This is ICP to the dollar tether. Okay, I like the one here. It looks like you'd have to go. It looks like we'd have to do this as A, B. Oh shit. It's a little unclear what we're doing here. I don't. Well, let's see. I'm on a daily. Let's go to an 8 here. It doesn't. This looks better than the first one. Oh, come here. Well, I had an Elliott count on there. Where'd it go? Hello. Where'd you go? Hang on. Sorry, this is what I was looking for. Okay, so I've got a pretty. I mean, it's hard to argue with that as an impulse, right? They're pretty clean 5. Nice little 3 in the. I mean, it's a 5. Okay, so now this gets a little funkier over here. I don't love the idea of turning this into a 3. It's a waterfall. So, but you got to truncate here. W, X, Y, X, A, B, C. Can't say I love it, but look where we're bouncing, right? I mean, all of this right in the golden zone here is the last tag of the golden zone. And remember, with Elliott, we're always looking, can we finish in a 5? Right? Can we get a nice 5 to finish it? Well, now here, this is a daily, but it's hard to miss the 5. How do you miss that? It's sort of like the 5 going up, right? I mean, here's let's open that up a little bit more. 5 going up, some sort of, you can't quite get it to work just as a zigzag. So the ABC here, you have to use it, right? So you kind of have to work backwards, right? Elliotticians, we often do this. Say, well, there's the clear 5. So if I work backwards, well, that looks like an ABC. Well, again, I got to work backwards. So some sort of a combo. Again, does the label, it doesn't matter. I would say no. What do we see here? Well, all of this area here looks like area of interest. So as we sit there with a little bit, like it's not perfect count. Again, don't expect it to be perfect, right? Oh okay. Well, give me a little push out of here. Some sort of, give me a higher high, right? At least give me a change of character. Retrace back down. I leave a fair value gap. Come down to a demand zone, something like that, right? To get me out of the hole down here. Another one to keep an eye on. So if you keep lists of your alts that are of interest based on the project having some utility, this would be a nice little cluster to be keeping an eye on. My view, right? Take it, leave it. These are the ones I'm watching and will continue to update here. Slightly better. This one we've looked at many times before. This is HBAR. This is the perpetual mix. Again, we're on BitGet. Well, this one is a little tougher to get. Oh, here what do I want? And I know there's more history on this, but okay, we've come down here. Maybe you make the case here that we've got this double bottom coming in. This, of course, being all wick, but God damn it, come here. But you see the plenty of supply above, and here's supply with a fair value gap. So this, but also note, there's likely you could work this into a 5, right? Well, can we finish in a 5? Is that a 5? Well, I'm on a 4-hour. Let's go to a 1, right? Does it look a little bit better on a 1? Well, if so, yeah, on the 1. Oh, here's, of course, I've got the Sonar Lab stuff on it, right? I feel like I have to say this every time. Our link is below. We work closely with them if you're interested in market structure and using a piece of software to help guide you through the breaks of structure, the changes of character, where the fair value gaps are, where the supply demands are. I mean, this can be a very helpful learning tool. Some people prefer to do it themselves. It's sort of like Elliott, right? You can buy a piece of software to do the Elliott count for you. Is that useful? Can be an efficiency. Really, at the end of the day, it's about efficiency. You may not like the count that the software comes up with. I mean, Motive Wave's a good one. There's several of them. TradingView now has Elliott counts in them. But they're not terribly sophisticated. And, when Elliott's at his best, it doesn't need to be terribly sophisticated. It should be so drop dead simple that, again, a 7-year-old could spot it. Okay, well, here's a 5. Now, it's not an impulsive start here, although it looks like you made a start on one here. So you've got this kind of mess here, but then if I zoom in there a little bit, it looks like you started on a 5. Oh, come here. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a bit wicky. Yes, I love that, but again, things that don't happen randomly. There's your 4 drops in there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, skinny little 5. That's an hourly. I don't like to go much below that because then you keep going lower and lower to accommodate your count bias here. Does that look like a 1, 2? Definitely not. And this being all just, who knows what happened there. Somebody got bent over there. This one needs a little time to mature. I think this is one, this might be a little trio of watch lists on alts that you might keep an eye on. This one's not quite ripe yet, but okay, signs of life. Again, a real contender in terms of its potential application. And then, let's see, we did Casper, we did ICP, HBAR. Okay, let's go to near. This one here, I like it. Looks like this is a little funky up here. It looks like I can get a 5 that's done up here. So come here. Right, so if I do it this way, I like my channeling. I like those impulses to stay within the Elliott channel. it's not like it's never happened that we didn't go outside of it. It's just in terms of the conviction I have in the count, right? When I see it stay tight and inside that channel and I can complete the full 5, it gives me more confidence in that as a completed impulse. Well, the problem with this one, and a problem, maybe not the right word, but where it's pushing what you would expect to see is if we just look at the length of time of the 1 compared to the length of time of the 2. Oh shit, I suppose I could do it this way, right? So we look at it that way. 1 to the 2. A little problematic there. Makes me pause here. Now, again, same kind of thing. Great story here. Real potential application case. But that's maybe here. I loved it. Now we're rolling over again. One to watch, right? As we drop right into this, oh shit, I mean, the very last little demand zone is way down here. We're dropping into, this would be a, well, so here's the change of character that came off of it. Here's the absolute low. We've had a little break of structure here. So this part of the count is down, but we're coming into this demand zone here. I'd want to see this pop a little bit, right? So like come up, okay, show me you can break through the 200, break through that supply zone here, and maybe come back here. Now that's the one right there. I want that one, right? That's the one that gets you out of the hole here. And likely you're starting on 1 if that's going to hold as a 2, which is the big if. 1, 2, okay, 1. But time, many technicians will equate time with price, right? It's just as, I mean, Gann being a great one, right? One of the greatest. Just as important as price. So your time here, excuse me, is a little bit off. Hang on. I guess I start pausing it when that's happening. All right, so plenty of resistance to deal with here, and all right, so what are we always asking, right? Is it technical? Is it technical? Right? Is the algo in here? Right? There are not many assets in 5 years of doing this I've ever pulled up a chart where the algo wasn't in there. I mean, maybe 2 in 5 years, and they were some really, really wacky alts, right? Anything with volume is going to have the algo in there. Just don't take my word for it. By all means, don't take my word for it. Just do what I do here. Look, where is it? First thing you should look for every time. Very first thing, where's Waldo? Right? If it's in there, then you got to track it, right? So we know this is the last thing it used. So if we are thinking about where this might go, we'd put this here, and I'd start back here. Right, I don't see anything that would be a threat to it. So this, well, then we'd have to get to the 50. Then we got to get through the golden zone. Then you got to go back one, right? Because you know it used this, right? So you got to go back one. Shit, probably used this one too. Oh shit. Oof. Makes me wonder if there's any additional history here. That looks like all wick. Actually, might be. Yep, all wick. Right, so all wick, not getting it done. Right, so that's no closes above. Likely they stuck with it. Right, here's the target to the tick. So if we're coming back up, right, we got to get through all of that. Long way to go, but right, of course, any asset that's rallying has got to break all that sell side resistance and the algo that's on the other side until we get to where there's no, I mean, here, if this, and I don't know that it is, if this is all the history we have here, I'm going to guess it's not. But if it is, well, once we get past this last one, then there's no algo fighting you. How do we get an algo to fight you? And you say, well, shit, does that mean it can just go forever? Well, no, right? As soon as we do this, well, then you got one right here, right? Looking to fight you. So, or fight you if you're a bull. Long way to go, but this is one I think you could keep on your radar. Another one, right? Kind of basing. Oh, another way to look at it and say, okay, anything down here, I'm interested. Accumulation, right? If we're going lower, well, here's 0. Here would be from this pivot here to the second target would be pretty close to 0. One to watch. I'm not saying buy it right now. I'm saying that's one to watch. Okay, let me finish up here. This will be a quick one today. I got Tesla here. Oh, we'll get to Tesla in a second. Before we get there, this is the ES, and we've been looking at this for the last few weeks. So this major resistance up here, of course, right smack dab in the middle of a golden zone. Well, we're threatening here to break, and as you can see, it's wide open, right? We're wide open here. So as an example of where we wouldn't have an algo fighting us, right? We get on the other side of this, blue sky. So all I can say is they better get that deal done, right? Because if they do, right, it's gonna explode, right? I mean, you're seeing it today, just in the possibility that they might have it done. We don't have it done. They don't know if they can get the votes, but just the threat of it getting done. What are we, 79 times, 78, 79 times in a row? The odds are they're going to get it done, only because there's no incentive to not get it, for either party to not get it done. Although some would tell you, those that just want to break everything. Threatening, right? In the golden zone. If we fail here, bad news. Bad news for the equity markets. If we fail at this golden zone after this many attempts to get through, my guess is they get the deal done. It's all just political theater. They get it done, and we rally out of this. Let's go look at Tesla, only because we've been looking at this last couple of weeks here, and we just had a significant break. So here's a good example where, okay, this is where we were last week, in the golden zone. Oh shit, was it last? Oh, so we were approaching it. So you were kind of in this conundrum where you're between two golden zones, or pardon me, about 50 here in the pocket, and then a golden zone here. So now this is broken. So let's get this out of there. So what does that mean? Well, of course, we're working off of the premise here. We've got a corner pocket, right? Impulse 3 down, right? 5-3. Elliott at its finest. Okay, coming off the corner. Now what we're doing is adding in some geometry, right? So is it going to get there? Here's the target. Now, okay, I'm just asking, how many trades have you been presented with recently where you've got a perfect 5 followed by a perfect 3 into an area where you know an algo is participating, and then you've got 80% probability of hitting a target? That's 330 versus, it's not so, say 70% return on your money. How many 80% probability trades are you looking at right now that have very solid TA behind them and 80% probability of making their target? I'm going to guess not a lot. Maybe you've got a few. But if you're looking for another one, I mean, I don't know that I can put a better one in front of you. Right now, note where we are. We're right at the 200. So look at the last time we got here. We literally tagged it. Now, we got to get through, right? Again, deal gets done. This is going to... Well, now remember, with the 80%, we could hit it. Well, we got to be past the date here. We could hit it here. We could hit it here. We could hit it here. Right? You don't know when, right? But it's 80% that we get there. All right, so nice one, right? If you're not in and you're like, oh shit, I remember he was mentioning that last week. Maybe I want to get this. Okay, well, you didn't miss it. If we're going here, likely not going to do it in a straight line. So if we complete up here, maybe we double top here. Who knows, right? We got plenty of supply up here, but little supply zone as we come up here. The retrace is what you're waiting for. So you wanted the 5 to go in, break the golden zone. Now I got to pivot here. Now be careful around pivots, right? Because that's just liquidity trap. Well, I shouldn't say it that way. It's liquidity, period, right? So, but the potential is it goes up there, they grab that liquidity, and that's what starts the retrace. Happens every day, right? It's not uncommon. So, what I would say is this: be careful about buying it right now, because what you were waiting for has now happened. So now you got to be patient and have a little discipline and wait for the retrace. Now I know, right? It can go, and you're like, damn it, I should have just bought it. Retraces, well, market's under no obligation to do anything ever, but the probability, just like we have 80% probability here, not 100%. I'd give you about 80% probability here there's going to be a retrace. Now, when it starts and how deep it goes, you would want to lean into what it typically does. So here's a 5 followed by a 3 that goes between the 50 and the golden zone. Here's a 5. Now, if I follow by a 3, wouldn't that make sense here? Right? Maybe between the 50 and the golden zone. Look for another entry. Seems reasonable. What have I got left? Hang on. All right, we'll finish up here. Again, there's really nothing you can do here, right? You certainly, this is the NQ. I just mentioned that. Well, do you see where we are, right? So we're from one golden zone to the next golden zone, right? Just in between the two. This sure looks like it's threatening, but it looked like it was threatening to break down here, right? So, okay, the count here would suggest that this isn't done, right? So if indeed it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, right? It's like you start choking on it after that many 1, 2s, but work through the count, right? So a lot of times I'll put something up here and kind of challenge you to see if you can work through the same and get the same count. Like you won't remember mine. 1, 2, 1, 2. There's a clearing 5. There's a 3. There's a 5. There's a 3. There's a 5. There's a retrace. There's another 5, right? So the 1, 2s are stacking up, but the implication would be that we're not done yet, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pushes us through this golden zone. Oh, let's see. Let's go to an 8 and see where we are in that count. That is your all-time high. So we're well, this seems to be a theme we're working on. Once we get through here, right? No sell side, nobody to blow you down, right? It's just blue sky. Now, how do we get one, right? Will we get here, right? Well, then we'll have one looking for that, right? Because just like we did here, just like we did here, just like we did here, right? The retraces are inevitable is the wrong word, highly probable, right? So all of this just pushes up here, assuming we get through. Now, again, they better get that deal done, right? Or this thing's going to roll over and we're back in some sort of an ABC that gets up here and we head back down because we are, just as this is an algo shooting for a target up here, this is an algo shooting for a target down here. All right, we'll see who wins that bet. My guess is they're going to get the deal done. We're going to blow right through all the indexes. Again, but do you want to? Oh shit! Let's buy it on a holiday weekend. Go in with the markets closed on Monday at the golden zone. I wouldn't. I mean, if you did, and if you did, and you got blown out, wouldn't you just be kicking yourself hard, right? To lose money when it's staring you right in the face. It's sort of like somebody sold it here. I promise somebody sold it there. Somebody bought it here. Somebody bought it here. I mean, these are just, and I'm only pointing to those because those are perfect golden zones, right? We've looked at those a couple of times. These are, here's the algo, here's the algo, here's the algo. So now we're between the algos, right? So I would encourage you to think twice about buying that right there. But let it retrace. Maybe you take the 4. See, always you want to come into these. Whenever you're going into a major point like this, a major pivot of resistance, right? It's just technical resistance. Let me emphasize this. This is technical resistance. There's no fundamental reason that we couldn't get through, right? But algos move the market. And who's behind the algos, right? Banks, institutions, whales, call them what you will. So if this retraces, we want to go into that because it's not, unless they break it, it's still going to be there. You want to go into it with house money, right? So if I buy it down here off of the structure, off of the pivot, whatever, right? There's a little demand zone here. I want to go into it with house money. So if I get rejected, I don't take a heavy loss, right? Worst case here, you can. Well, shit, I'm on an 8-hour here. You probably make a little money there. Worst case here is scratch, right? If you're disciplined about money management, you wouldn't want to let it go hit that and then come down and stay with it. Seems like that'd be kind of silly. All right, so they're a pretty good roundabout of a bunch of assets. Some to get on your radar, some just kind of confirming like. A lot of times what we're doing is we're looking at it, but we kind of go back in the history just to confirm in your own mind how the market reacts to these pivots. Okay, first, can we find the 5s and 3s? If we can, okay, where's the geometry fit? Okay, if we can, where's the algo? What did it do last? Can we work around that? Here, I mean, who would you say is going to win that? You have to give the bias to the bulls here, right? Markets always want to go up, always, 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 forever and ever. That is the natural bias of the market. They always want to go up. So there has to be a reason for them to be coming down. Right now, there's the only reason that would bring it down. I mean, shouldn't say it that way. The most immediate reason that would bring it down is that they don't get this deal done, right? I mean, the market is already factoring in at least one more rate hike, right? And we're rallying like banshees today. So it's not going to be the rate hike. The rate hike's not going to slow it down. What's going to slow that down, right? Politicians. Okay, guys, there we go. I'll wrap it up for the day. We're back next week for our live stream. A lot of new members dropping in, which is great to see. A lot of new participants in the belt system. God, I never promote this shit. I'm not much of a promoter. I just show you what we're doing, and it seems to attract people. But a lot of new people joining us here in the belt system, which is great to see. Right, so Elliott's not dead out there, although it's harder and harder to find. Okay, guys, have a great weekend. I'll be back next week, and we'll talk to you then.